All right, so we know that Donald Trump lashed out at Marjorie Taylor Greene on Friday, but while he was at it, he came out and delivered what is being considered a low blow even for Donald Trump. Did Thomas Massie, sometimes referred to as Rand Paul Jr. because of the fact that he always votes against the Republican Party, get married already? Boy, that was quick. No wonder the polls have him at less than 8% chance of winning the election. Anyway, have a great life, Thomas, and question mark. His wife will soon find out that she's stuck with a loser. That's Donald Trump to Thomas Massie on November 14th, the same night he attacked Marjorie Taylor Greene. So Stephen L. Anderson says Thomas Massie was married to the same woman for like 30 years till she died. Trump, on the other hand, is twice divorced. That's 2 failed marriages. Then he criticized Representative Thomas Massie for getting remarried 1.5 years after his wife died. Trump is sleazy, and he's a big hypocrite. Joel Webbin, Epstein trafficked your daughter, Fauci killed your grandma, and yet Trump has shown more anger towards Massie than the other two combined. Exactly. Clint Russell says Trump is a massive piece of shit. Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, 2028. Let's fucking go. Glenn Greenwald chimes in. Also, Trump's mocking Massie for remarrying quick after his wife of many decades passed away is disgusting, particularly so for someone who was on his 3rd marriage and started those affairs and many others while still married to the prior wife at home with his young kids. Yeah, exactly. But you know who loves it? You know who's here for it? Cat Turd. Once again. Once again, the whore Cat Turd. OMG. Laugh emoji, laugh emoji, laugh emoji. People were so offended by that, they actually community noted it with context, talking about Massie's first wife having tragically died last year. Vince Langman, the Timu Gunther Eagleman, says, I voted for mean tweets about Thomas Massie on a Friday night. LOLOL. Again, just like, how like mask off repugnant can you be? Like
it's almost too much, man. This is really the worst timeline.
Yeah. Just like just unbelievable repugnant scum. Cooper says, this is so far beyond politics. Massie married his high school sweetheart. They were together since he was 16, over 35 years. Went to MIT together, mother of his 4 kids. Mocking someone that got a second chance after losing all that. Fuck this guy. Yeah, like once again, if you're a remotely normal person, your response to that is fuck this guy. And so Massie did not respond.
I mean, I'm sorry. You know, people talk a lot. This is what I voted for. Well, you voted for the guy who early in his first presidential run said, I prefer soldiers who didn't get captured. Right. That's the guy you voted for. It's not like all of a sudden he became an asshole. He was always an asshole.
Right. Exactly. So Thomas Massie did not respond on X to those swipes from Trump, but he was asked about it today on the Sunday show. So let's take a look.
You in some deeply personal ways. I mean, attacking way.
Come on. Come on.
The president has gone after you in some deeply personal ways. I mean, attacking you over and over again, even attacking you for regarding your wedding, your recent wedding, which, by the way, congratulations. What do you make of all that? And he's obviously supporting your primary opponents. I mean, what kind of retribution are you facing?
You know, my wife told me, she said, I told you so. We should have invited Donald Trump. He's mad that he didn't get an invitation. So we're taking it with a grain of salt. He's being a bully or trying to be a bully. And they're trying to beat me here in Kentucky. But here's what's interesting. The people financing this campaign consist completely of 3 billionaires, and they're all in the Epstein class. In fact, one of them is named in Epstein's phone book. Not the secret files that the FBI is keeping, but in Epstein's phone book. So it's a small world. Dogs don't bark at parked cars, and we are winning. I'm not tired of winning yet, but we are winning. And not only the speaker, but the attorney general, the FBI director, And the president himself and the vice president, they're taking a big loss this week because after months of fighting, I am winning this week with Ro Khanna. We're forcing this vote, and it's going to happen. I would remind my Republican colleagues who are deciding how to vote, Donald Trump can protect you in red districts right now by giving you an endorsement. But in 2030, he's not going to be the president, and you will have voted to protect pedophiles if you don't vote to release these files, and the president can't protect you then. This vote, the record of this vote, will last longer than Donald Trump's presidency.
So that was, for the most part, well said, but I actually think he sold himself a little bit short at the end there. I don't think
agree.
Donald Trump can protect Republicans in red districts. I think his brand is completely toxic by now, as evidenced by the fact that we will get to this in a minute. Yeah, Donald Trump is now telling House Republicans to vote to release the Epstein files. You know what that means? That means Donald Trump cucked by Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So after these outbursts of the last couple nights, he is forced to bend the knee, and we're going to find out why. I know I didn't want to bury the lead too much since that's breaking, so I wanted to show you that. But a lot of what went into that decision can be seen right here from Mike Johnson. Now, Thomas Massie tweets this out from his own account. After months of fighting and disparaging my Epstein legislation, now that my discharge petition has succeeded, Speaker Johnson says he tried to pass the law by unanimous consent. If that's so, he should have no problem voting yay next week. Listen to his own words. So just to give you guys some backstory as to what that means, obviously the discharge petition was stuck at 217 votes with the victory of Representative Grijalva Adelita, I believe her first name is, in Arizona. Yep. She became, after getting sworn in, the 218th vote on that discharge petition, which then forces a House vote on releasing the Epstein files. So if they have 218 signatures on the discharge petition, what that means is that the House is obviously going to pass the bill to release the Epstein files. So what Mike Johnson then tries to do, because he knows it's going to pass anyway, he tried to pass the bill through unanimous consent, which he brags about here. So before we play the video, I just want to tell you what unanimous consent is. Unanimous consent in Congress is a process where a legislative body acts by the agreement of all members present with no objections. It is used to speed up the process of passing non-controversial legislation and managing daily business. So if I can translate that for you, Mike Johnson knows it's going to pass anyway, and he doesn't want Republican members having to vote yes or no. Because if they vote yes, they piss off Donald Trump. If they vote no, they piss off their voters. So he tried to, I mean, for a guy who's, I guess, believes in hell, he's not too afraid of going there because this is as sleazy a move as it gets, trying to avoid having his members vote yes or no to release the Epstein files.
Well, and then they were really pushing this narrative that, all the Democrats voted against releasing Epstein files. Tell me why that happened. They got all the chuds stirred up for a day without telling them. Yeah, they voted against it because they wanted the votes on the record.
Right. Exactly. So let's hear Mike Johnson talk about how, no, I tried to pass this by unanimous consent, and the Democrats held it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This tonight, and I think this is a shame to a lot of the Hill press corps. I'm not going to name any of you by name, but I haven't seen many stories written yet about the fact that we put the discharge up for unanimous consent on the floor tonight. The Republicans, the Speaker, and the Republicans asked for unanimous consent to just go ahead and pass the discharge because I think it's a moot point. The Democrats objected to the unanimous consent.
They objected to the unanimous consent because it's a moot point. They objected to the unanimous consent because they know they have the votes anyway. And of course, the Democrats want the Republicans to have to vote yes or no. They want each individual Republican to have to go on the record as either opposing Trump or opposing their own constituents. That's the whole point. The fact that it's a moot point is all the more reason for them not to pass it by unanimous consent, because obviously going into the midterms, they want every Republican member of the House on the record This weasel is trying to make it so that his members don't have to vote. He's trying to make it so that they don't have to take a position because he knows he's going to lose the vote anyway.
Nobody's written a story about that. That's stunning to me. How can you miss that? If it was about...
Nobody missed that. Nobody missed that. It's just you're a total sleazebag who's completely misrepresenting the argument.
transparency, if it was about full disclosure, there's two questions you should ask every Democrat in the House and Senate. Why didn't you bring this up during the 4 years of the Biden administration when the Biden DOJ had all these records the entire time?
Because a lot of Democrats are in the Epstein files too, and Democrats are also scum. Okay, so what about you and the Epstein files and Trump?
Yeah.
Right?
Nobody ever said a word about it. They didn't care. Now it's the biggest thing in the world. Didn't matter at all when Joe Biden had the files. And secondly, if they're for transparency, and they really want all this to be out, and there's such this urgency, then why did they vote down the unanimous consent to pass the discharge petition tonight?
Very simple reason. They have the votes anyway, and they want two-faced pieces of shit like you to have to vote yes or no on releasing the files. And you're trying to spin it as if they're the ones slowing this down. Just astounding. Just astounding. But they were so bad. They failed so spectacularly that, yes, now Donald Trump, for all of his bluster and chest pounding and all of his macho bullshit, he ends up now having to bend the knee. This just breaking tonight urges House Republicans to vote to release Epstein files. U.S. President Donald Trump on Sunday called on his fellow Republicans in Congress to vote for the release of files related to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide. Oh, you've certainly been acting that way the past year. Trump said in a post on Truth Social, and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party, including our recent victory on the Democrat shutdown. So that's where you're at.
This is what I've been pushing for a long time. It was actually my idea. I've really been trying to get them to vote on this.
Yeah, right. So that's where you're at. That's where you're at. And the reason Donald Trump tweeted that out tonight is because he realized what I realized a week ago, which is that we've hit the tipping point, and he now does not have control of his own caucus. That is why he tweeted that out, because he knew he was going to be humiliated on Tuesday when waves of Republican congresspeople said, you know what? I'd rather be on the right side of the Epstein files than on the right side of Donald Trump. He knew that, I mean, who knows how many were about to make that calculation. I suspect at least dozens were about to rebuke him in very humiliating fashion. And so he feels like, you know what? I have no choice. Because what am I going to do? Rage tweet at 100 congresspeople on Tuesday night? That's going to make me look even worse. So I have to just get out in front and say, okay, vote for it. This way, it looks as though I have some control over my caucus when really I don't, because his brand is dead right now.
Right.
His brand is done. It's over.
Yeah, let them vote for it, and then I'll just do what I've been doing. Wasn't me.
Right.
That's not my signature.
Yeah,
I don't draw.
Just say they're fake, right?
That's
well, who knows? Look, tomorrow
that's not
they
a
vote.
Picture of me with Clinton's dick in my mouth.
There's still a
Never
ton
did
they
it.
can do.
That's
Don't forget.
AI.
Yeah.
That's AI. That's Reid Hoffman. It's Reid Hoffman using his AI technology.
This whole bill, by the way, still has to clear 60 in the Senate, and the DOJ still has control over what they're going to release. This whole bill is to compel the Justice Department to release the Epstein files, which means even if this vote goes on Tuesday the way we now know for absolute certain it will, there's still a long ways to go to getting these files out and determining what comes out and what doesn't. Meaning that, this aside, there's still a lot of tricks they can pull, right? They could still redact certain things. Like, they could still do essentially whatever they want.
Well,
but this is a major defeat, just a major defeat for him, that he felt the need to come out and say, okay, fine, vote for him.
Yeah, no, supposedly, a lot of people speculate that he ordered Bondi, which you're not supposed to be able to order the AG around like that. There's supposed to be some independence. Obviously, they're not bothering with that pretense. But ordering her to go investigate Democrats, including Reid Hoffman and Bill Gates and people like this, because then they can say, well, we can't release it because it's part of an active investigation.
Right.
And it would not surprise me at all, because they are so shameless and
they'll
so
pull that.
arrogant if they pull that after this vote.
They'll pull that. Yeah. If worse comes to worse, what they'll probably try and do is, if this clears, which it obviously is going to, if it gets to 60 in the Senate, which I can't imagine now, given Trump's about face on this, that it won't. It passes. Trump signs it and says, "Well, we'll release what we can, but a lot of it is under wraps because there's a current investigation going on, and we can't show it to you."
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if it goes any other way. Like, in what universe do they just release all the Epstein files?
It's really hard to believe that they would. It's really almost impossible to believe that they would. But look, Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they forced that out of him because they beat him.
Right.
They won.
Right.
They had the votes, and they were going to get even more because Trump's brand is now toxic, and it's an amazing thing to see. Who would have said 1 year in Republicans are going to feel like they have to vote against Trump? Nobody saw that coming.
Please clap.